Week 2 of the NFL season, the Denver Broncos take on the Indianapolis Colts, their first road game to Indianapolis. Can Bo Nix and the Broncos offense pick it up once again and hopefully get momentum going into week 3 against the Chargers? That's what we're going to talk about today. And can the defense keep it up as well? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Get Bucked Game.
Shake the air. Get bucked. Here comes the thunder. Feel that quake in Broncos country. We're never afraid to take it. The rivals gonna crumble in the spotlight's glare. Get bucked all together. Let's shake the air.
Inside the 15, inside the 10, the 5, touchdown Denver!
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Get Bucked Game Day Show, brought to you by the Orange and Blue Network. I am your host, Isaiah Henderson, the Bronco Gentleman. And with me is super hyped, super energetic, so far the co-host of the Get Bucked Game Day Show this season, Bronco Rob. Man, you came in hot. How you doing, buddy?
Let's go. What up, Isaiah? Orange and Blue crew, it's another day, another game where Denver is going to do their absolute best to pull a W out, even though they had a shaky performance last week against the Titans. So let's see what we got going on for today. We got Michael Yost in the house saying, woo! Let's buck and go and beat the Colts. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's be rep and said, let's go Broncos 2-0. That's the hope today, guys. The hope is that we're going to come into Indianapolis. We a little bit of a beat-up defense for the Colts. The offense is going to get it together. Hopefully just run the ball to start the game. And then Bo Nix looks better, less turnovers. And then we come out 2-0 and we head into the Chargers, who we expect to beat the Raiders and have some momentum. But, the goal is to be 2-0. We also got Shy Vargas in the house. He says, let's go Broncos. But, guys, before we break down all the things we're expecting, the keys to the game, all of our segments, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and anywhere you listen to our favorite podcast. As you guys know, as we say all the time, we're on the path to 539. And that triggers a Bo Nix jersey giveaway. But you must be subscribed to us on YouTube to be in the running for that. You guys have done an excellent job and got us over 430. So just keep climbing. And then once we hit 539, we're going to hit a next milestone with more giveaways. So it's just going to keep going and keep adding because we are a fan-led podcast here at the Orange and Blue Network, and we are here for you guys. But also, in addition to hitting the like button and the notification bell, make sure you guys hit that notification bell because we have all of our shows that you do not want to miss. For today, like example, today we have the Get Bucked Game Day Show, and afterwards we'll have the Buck Your Feelings post-game show, win or lose. And then we have the shows during the week, which you don't want to miss as well. So there's constant Broncos content coming out from the Mile High, from the Orange and Blue Network, but not just Broncos content because we have the Mile High Sports Symposium Wednesdays at 2:30 p.m., which talks about all Denver sports. So you guys are going to want to hit that notification bell so you don't miss that. Rob, what's up, brother? How you doing today? How was your week? How was everything going? Was it a long week? Was it a short week? Was it a busy week? How was it?
Hey, man, it was a long, busy week, but you know what? We made it to Sunday. We made it to game day, and I'm excited to see what Denver's going to do. I believe Sean Payton's going to have his play calling figured out. Rumor has it that we're going to be running the ball a little bit more this week against the Colts. Surprisingly enough, Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, is with the Colts and led them to a victory last week. So hopefully they got a little lackadaisical. I don't know, one of those words. Lackadaisical. Yeah, there you go.
Lax.
Lackadaisical. Not only do we do Broncos news, but we do English training here on Orange and Blue Network as well. But hopefully Denver's defense will shut them down and prove that Danny Dimes is, well, still Danny Dimes, and make him chuck up a couple nickels. So we'll see what happens this week, and I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I'm just going to go ahead and while we're talking about shutting down Danny Dimes and the offense, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the injury report for both teams so we can break that down, see who's doing what. So we're going to start off with the Colts injury report. Let's see if they go to their Twitter really quickly. I will put it up on screen, but every time I do that, my computer crashes. So let's see. Where are we? Okay, so their inactives today are Tyler Goodson, their running back, Loatu Latu, their defensive end that everybody was talking about that got injured during the week with a hamstring. He was limited on Wednesday. Then he was a do not practice. He's officially game day inactive. And Charvarius Ward, their cornerback. So they lost Charvarius Ward, their starting cornerback. Jalen Jones was their starting cornerback last year, but not this year. And they lost their defensive end. So I expect, I know Sean Payton likes to do a lot of RPOs. And so that's where you got to read the edge and definitely get the cornerback. I think you can definitely play some games with that. But what I want to do is I don't want to test to see if they can cover, but I want to test to see if they can tackle early. And that's something that Sean Payton mentioned when he first came to the Denver Broncos. Was one thing he likes to do is he likes to run at these cornerbacks, see if they can tackle, soften them up, then throw. Hey, I want to see that philosophy implemented and applied here today against the Colts. Go in there, you want to get the crowd out early. You don't want to get the crowd loud, with putting Bo, having them throw 40 times, but, get the crowd out of it. Make it run the ball, grind them down, be consistent throughout the game, see if these guys can tackle, and then, take your shots because then you have their number one cornerback out. So maybe Xavier Howard is going to be guarding Cortland Sutton, and then, then you got Kenny Moore, who's their nickel. So we'll just have to see. So what do you think about the, and the injury report and how missing their defensive end, their pass rush? How do you think that could affect the Broncos? See with that?
Well, I think that's going to be definitely a feather in Denver's cap this week, missing out on those key prospective players. I think Denver's offensive line will be up to the challenge to keep whatever pass rush they have left at bay and give Bo Nix some time to be able to find some wide open shots down the field. But, going back to what you were saying and what I was referring to before, Denver's run game, you've got you've got a running backs that we've got a Bruiser and we've got RJ Harvey. So I think that's definitely going to be a test, kind of give them some body shots there in the beginning and soften them up. So that way we, opens the passing game over the top for sure.
I think that's an excellent descriptor of what I was trying to say, but just couldn't find the words for it. But yeah, that's the correct terminology, boxing terminology, body shots. Yes, go ahead and give some body shots because I think last week it was a lot of haymakers trying to be thrown, and you almost got knocked out. But fortunately, your defense is really, really good. So you're able to miss on these haymakers, but know that you're able to defend the counter punches very, very, very well. Some say best in your weight class. You have the best defense in your class. So when you miss on those haymakers, you can stumble, but you don't fall. I think today, if you miss on haymakers or you throw too many of them, you will miss, you will get knocked out, and maybe it may be too late for you. So I think, some body shots, set them up at the body, maybe take some jads up top, and then that's when you go for the haymaker. I think similar to last week, that's when, I think our running backs get better in the fourth quarter. I think our offensive line gets better in the fourth quarter. And that's when you really hit the knockout punch and put the dagger in. But hopefully by halftime, we're up. And it's funny because my week one prediction was on the prediction board at 35-13, but it ended up being a W in 20-12. Now this week, we'll talk about later what my prediction was so far, and then my corrected position. But now I want to go to the Broncos injury report. So the offense, so that's who their injury report is, and so is mainly going to affect their defense. Not really much on their offense. But the Broncos injury report came out, and we're all very familiar because we talk about it during the week. We follow it during the week. But Jaleel, once again, Bronco Rock is inactive. So Tyler Bidet, the second week in a row, gets the nod over Jaleel. Everyone else, we expected Sam Ellinger, Nate Atkins, Dre Greenlaw, Frank Crum, Savion Jones. Hopefully next week, two of those guys will be off. And so what do you think, second week in a row, of the coaches saying Tyler Bidet over Jaleel McLaughlin?
Well, I think Jaleel McLaughlin, like last week, is just a healthy scratch. I think, they don't want to use him too much because, as we've mentioned before, Jaleel McLaughlin is a great running back. He's speedy. He's got that quick twitch for getting around the corner, but where he lacks is pass blocking. I think Tyler Bidet edges him out a little bit in the pass blocking area. But, I feel like it's not – I don't believe he's truly injured. I think he's just a healthy scratch. And, Denver's just trying to save him up for later on when we start playing teams where we need to rely on that run game around the outside.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that with Tyler Bidet versus Jaleel is, hey, Jaleel can return kicks. Well, so can Tyler Bidet. So he can do the same special teams he can. And like you said, that extra pass blocking is the difference maker. And we saw that on a 2-minute drill and also third down and things like that. But I definitely want to see some more. And I think in Sean Payton's defense, last year we wanted to see some more different running backs. We wanted some Tyler Bidet on the field. And I think Sean Payton really, really wanted him. And now is a season where he can actually have him. And he's not making that mistake. And I think it kind of surprises us that we thought Sean Payton loved Jaleel so much when it turns out he loves Tyler Bidet even more than he loves Jaleel. I think Broncos country definitely has to get used to that. But Rob, you said you got the scores up. Go ahead and give us an update on.
Yeah, so we're gonna run through these games this morning, and right now we got Baltimore over Cleveland 20-3. We've got Jacksonville upsetting the Bengals 24-17 currently. We've got the New York Giants, the G-men, down to Dallas by 1 point, 17-16. We've got Detroit Lions up over the Bears, no surprise there, 31-14. We have Miami just underneath the Patriots by 1 point, 21-20 New England. We have the 49ers edging out the Saints right now, 19-14. And Buffalo is absolutely smacking the bejesus out of the Jets, 23-3. We also have a tie game, Pittsburgh versus Seattle, 14-14. And we have the LA Rams beating the Titans currently, 20-16. And those are your NFL scores this morning.
Important note on that. Joe Burrow's injured. So it's either a lower leg, toe, or ankle injury. So it looks like the Bengals will fall 1-1. We play them in 2 weeks. Depending on who the Bengals play next week, they may not play him next week, but they may try and get him week 2. So I know some people are saying we may not play him. I think we will see Joe Burrow. I doubt it. I know they wanted to start fast as well this year, but he is injured on that front. So that's something that we definitely want to look out for. So we talked about the Colts injury report. We talked about the Broncos injury report. So next thing I want to talk about is, Rob, if you're a Colts fan or you're a coach on the Colts, actually, you don't have that. As a Broncos fan, what players are you looking for on the Colts? Are you looking to watch that? You keep an eye on that. You hope it doesn't, we should to bracket, restrict, constrict. Who are the key players that we need to watch out for?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to mention 3 on the offensive side because honestly, Danny Dimes doesn't scare me whatsoever. You've got their running back, Jonathan Taylor. He's always, he's always a problem for teams in the backfield. We did get lucky playing them last year with, he dropped that ball just inches from the goal line. And so, I guarantee he won't make that mistake again. So that's definitely going to be weighing on his mind this week, and that might give him a little fire under his belt. Then you have Tyler Warren, the tight end, who has been kind of a key piece for them, especially in their last game. For you fantasy players out there, had quite a performance last week. And then you also have Michael Pittman, their wide receiver. So I mean, if Denver can lock down those, at least the wide receivers and let the defensive line take care of Taylor, I think Denver will be in a good spot this week.
Speaking of Tyler Warren, so I have a quick question for you, Robin. I need your help. So in one of my leagues, I'm in 3 fantasy leagues. Last week I came back and won all 3. I came up with an upset Dave Foglassman. Love you, Dave. This week I'm getting this snot kicked in me by Bronco Libre. But in one of my leagues, I have 3 tight ends, and I just picked up Tyler Warren. So my starter is usually Brock Bowers, but he's injured, but he's suiting up today, and he's supposed to be playing. My backup is Evan Ingram, and my third is Tyler Warren. Do you think I should keep Brock Bowers as the starter? Coming back from injury, everybody thought he was going to be out, but now he's here against the Chargers tonight. Or do I go to Evan Ingram? I think what we're going to talk about in a second, I think is going to have a big game or a bigger game or be more involved. Or do we go with Tyler Warren, who came with momentum last week? But I don't want to pick him to go up against the Broncos.
I mean, obviously you don't want a player from the team that Denver's playing to go off against Denver, especially fantasy league. But I feel like I mean, look at what the Chargers did against the Chiefs last week. They kept Travis Kelce in check for the most part. Travis Kelce is head and shoulders above Tyler Warren, in my opinion. But with Tyler Warren's performance last week, that just goes to prove that Danny Dimes is relying on Tyler Warren as the safety blanket. Where Denver didn't play Ingram very much. Man, I don't know. That's a tough, that's a tough decision.
Or do I keep Brock Bowers the starter?
I mean, you can. I would probably keep Brock Bowers in just to keep any kind of juju off of Denver's back, but that's just me being superstitious. But I don't know.
I did not. Tyler Warren is not the starter. I did pick him up off fantasy, off waivers when Brock Bowers was injured, but I did not start him. So I think I'm gonna just keep him as the starter for right now and just say, hey. But if I'm feeling confident in my Evan Ingram prediction, I don't see why I don't switch it for the week. And I think you'll talk me up, and as the show gets going, and as we get to our key players that we want to watch on offense, because I know that we said we want to get Evan Ingram more involved, and he's the matchup they want to look for. And I think when you have guys like Zaire Franklin on as a linebacker, you have Kenny Moore in the slot, I think you definitely need to take advantage of that and clear out that middle. So that's definitely going to be something interesting to watch. Yeah, I agree with your 3 from the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, and you say Daniel Jones doesn't surprise you. And I think, who'd you say, Michael Pittman?
Yeah, Michael Pittman is their other key offensive player.
I agree with those 3. The 3 from the Broncos, since you went, I'm going to go Bo Nix, Evan Ingram, and then I think I'm going to go J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to go J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be very important today with, that power, because the Colts have a speed defense as well. I think and they're a little bit worn down without their edges. So it's going to be important to kind of, like you said, those body shots become a bruiser. So those are definitely the guys I'm going to be keeping my eye on.
No, I agree with you. I think those are 3, good key players for Denver. But the difference, in my opinion, and again, this might be looking at it with orange-colored glasses, Denver has, key players in pretty much all the positions. If they're double teaming Cortland Sutton, we've got Marvin Mims, we've got Troy Franklin, we've got Evan Ingram. If they're doubling one of the others, somebody's going to be open today, and somebody's going to have a game where they're going to pop off and have either a lot of yards or multiple touchdowns. But the key piece for Denver is our defense. Our defense is playing lights out as usual. Definitely a top 5 defense for sure. And I believe that Denver's defense is going to be able to hold Indy in check. But they're playing in Indianapolis. And, and Indy always seems to do a little bit better when they're playing at home. So, let's see what happens, man. I'm looking for Denver to come out swinging and start the game hot.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to come out and really run the ball and establish the run. Just an update, guys. 22 minutes ago, Joe Burrow just finished in the MRI room, was using a one-legged scooter to get back to the locker room with his left leg propped up as to not put any weight on it. And like I said, we play the Bengals in 2 weeks, so that changes what I said a little bit earlier, huh? Huh, Rob?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Going around the scooter, not putting any weight on it. You're out for the rest of this game. You're probably not going to play next week. They'll probably try and – I think we play them on Monday night. Or do we play the Chargers Monday night? Who do we play? We play the Bengals Monday night, yes. So they're going to try and probably ramp him back up, but that's going to be interesting with his mobility and his offensive line. I'm liking that win more and more, and I think this one's at home this time. So I'm liking that home game a little bit more and more against the Bengals. All right. So we talked about the guys that we're looking for on the offense. On our side of the ball, Rob, on defense, who do you think is going to be the key today, the X factor? Because as you mentioned earlier, last year we did beat them. And I would say that we barely beat them. We got Jonathan Taylor's fumble wasn't because we forced it. It wasn't because it was a strip sack. It wasn't because of a mistake of their own. It was because of him. It was self-inflicted. That was in our house. Now we're in their house. Now they want revenge. That's not going to happen again. But they've gotten better on the offensive side of the ball. They've added Daniel Jones. They've added Tyler Warren. We've gotten better on the defensive side of the ball. We've added Talanoa Hufanga, Jahdae Barron. Alex Singleton didn't play against the Colts, and Riley Moss didn't play against the Colts. So we've got Riley Moss, Alex Singleton, and Talanoa Hufanga and Jahdae Barron additions to the defense that we didn't have against the Colts. So out of the entire defense, including the new guys, who do you think is going to be the X factor? And what I mean by X factor is, like last week, you could say it was Talanoa Hufanga, but I would say it was Nick Benito, like the difference maker. It could be from beginning of the game to end, or it could be that guy who's just going to make that last play that changes the momentum. Either one. But who do you think that guy or guys are?
Well, I think I'm gonna stick on the Nick Benito train until he proves me wrong. He had quite a few pressures last week, and his first step, like we said, last time, his first step is very reminiscent of Von Miller. He just has that quick burst, that first step, and he's able to get in that lineman's face before they even have a chance to put their hands on him. So if I had to pick one person, I'd say Nick Benito. If I had to pick two, I would say Nick Benito, and I think Riley Moss is gonna show up today and have a stellar game against their offense. We got D-Rock saying Zach Sack Allen. Zach Sack Attack Allen. There you go.
Yeah, that interior pressure. I definitely think Zach Allen could definitely be a huge difference maker. But if I had to go with one on the defense, I'm going to have to go with, and this is an easy one. This is what everyone's going to say. But I would go with Justin Strnad. They're going to test early. Vance Joseph's place it's going to be either Brandon Jones, Talanoa Hufanga, Pat Surtain, even different people, but a lot of times it's going to be the middle linebackers. Justin Strnad had an excellent game last week against the Titans to start. He had 5 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, 1 sack, I think a tackle for a loss. He had an excellent game. I want to see that continue, and I think if he can really develop, even in his going into his fifth? What is this? His 5th year?
I believe so. Yeah.
And really develop, and because George Payton drafted him as a pass coverage linebacker from Wake Forest. He never turned out to be that. He had one quick flash, and then he got injured, and then we never saw it again. He was on special teams. I think if he can develop that pass coverage and maybe not necessarily be a liability in that, not saying he has been, but we haven't seen that really tested. I think he's going to be tested. I think he can definitely be the X factor on defense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on that. But, again, we're sitting at just under 25 minutes before kickoff here. And, I think special teams, is definitely gonna be something that we want to watch today. If they have Marvin Mims out there catching punts or kicks, I definitely don't think he's going to fumble again because, his reaction last week when we fumbled that, he was pretty pissed off at himself. So I have a feeling that he put in the extra time and caught a few extra punts and made sure that, his game is on point. And the thing is with Denver, I don't know why, but it seems like whenever Denver plays, teams, back towards the East Coast, I don't know if it's the time difference or what, but they always seem to struggle a little bit. But I think Denver's gonna have their eggs in a row and have their plan about them. So.
Well, I have to get a new quarterback for my other fantasy. Who is my backup quarterback for my other fantasy league? Since Joe Burrow's out, gosh, you know what, man? I'm either playing my boss or I'm playing Libre. I remember which. It's being slow. I forgot I turned off. But yeah, Joe Burrow's out. So I think Jared Goff is my backup quarterback. I think I got him as my backup quarterback for whatever reason. He was I'm making a comeback, so I'm not getting torn apart too bad. No, this is against Libre. This is the one where I'm getting torn to shreds by Libre. He's got 40 points on me, by far. And Joe Burrow's injured. So who's my backup quarterback in this league? Yeah, Jared Goff. So I'm gonna have to start Jared Goff, which isn't a bad thing. But all right, so we're about to move to our next segment, and then we're not done with the football talk, guys. But you guys know we do have a couple of segments to get to Mile High Menu. So I guess last week you started us off, Rob, but I'm going to start us off. So welcome to our next segment of Mile High Menu, where you tell us what you're eating, what you're ordering, what are the Sunday eats for game.
I know we kick it like no one else. We kick it like no one else. Listen out, there ain't nothing like this. I know we kick it like no one else. We kick it like no one else. Listen out, there ain't nothing like this.
Ooh, thank you guys. Welcome to another segment of Mile High Menu, and this is where we tell us the Sunday eats for game day. I'm gonna start us off. I didn't order anything, but it's very simple. It's my Mile High Menu, guys. You guys know it's always short. But today it is some smoked chicken and hot dogs. Just went ahead and just grilled some hot dogs up. Do some chicken on there. So with some green beans and macaroni and cheese. So that's what my Mile High Menu is gonna be. Love opening up the grill up back there with some charcoal. And getting it going, love smoking. And so I feel like there's no better time to grill and to get the grill going than on game day during football season. So not much, but pretty simple. Huh, Rob?
Yes, sir. I'm keeping it simple myself this week. I've got some short spare ribs in the slow cooker since about 9 o'clock this morning. Got those going. Once I hit those, I'll throw them into the broiler for a little bit, get a little crunch on them. Glaze them with some barbecue sauce and maybe make some rice of some sort. So, we're keeping it simple. Nothing too crazy. Last week I did the buffalo chicken nachos, which came out pretty bomb, if I must say. But
Oh man, yeah. That sounds incredible, dog.
Yeah, just a short rack, nothing crazy.
I didn't know you were a chef. Well, this is Mile High Menus, so that does make sense. One of us has got to be a chef. That sounds fantastic. D-Rock comes in and says, I made some General So scramps with white rice, mixed veggies, and some fried egg rolls. You made that or you heated it up, but either way, that sounds good. That sounds really, really good. I gotta get some. I gotta start. What I want to do is I always told myself before 30, I wanted to be able to have like a diversified cooking repertoire. And I think I'm at May. Okay, so I need to take some notes from you, D-Rock. Go ahead and send me a tutorial. I can walk through and do it myself. But I got some months. Man, time's flying by. before I turn 30, and I don't think I'm gonna hit that goal. But I've gotten a lot better than where I was. And one thing, guys.
Wait a minute. Isaiah, not even 30 yet?
No, I'm 29.
I'm gonna be 40 this year, dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you look a lot. I thought you were a lot younger than that. I didn't think you were close to 40, if I'm being honest.
Nah, you see all this gray, dog? Nah, I'm almost 40, homie.
33, 34. I'm almost 30, so it's up for me. That's game over. That's life. That's it for me. There's nothing more after that. But between my grilled chicken and hot dogs, D-Rock's General So's, well, last week was your buffalo nachos. This week it's your spare ribs. But what goes with every single one of these is if you take a good teaspoon of Dubby and you pour it in some water, you mix it up because it has no sugars, no calories, no maltodextrin, no fillers, no artificial flavors. So you guys can go on there. You guys can pick all the flavors you want. So because sometimes you sit down and you're like, yo, I'm tired of drinking water. I want something sweet because, I'm tired of water. And so it's formulated with nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, including the patented neurofactor nootropic. And the caffeine is derived directly from the coffee fruit. And so, guys, definitely on Sunday Eats, on Football Sunday Eats and Mile High Menu, we definitely come here and talk about the flavors we have. Don't forget to use code OBN10 for 10% off of your order at checkout, and send us the flavor that you ordered when it comes in. And that goes with any type of food that we may want to eat. But guys, that's going to conclude Mile High Menu. And then when we get back from this video, when we close this segment, we are going to finish talking about what we expect from the Broncos and Colts. And then we are going to close with our final.
I know we kick it like no one else. We kick it like no one else. Listen out, there ain't nothing like this. I know we kick it like no.
I don't need to hear the whole thing. We know how it goes. D-Rock comes in, excellent review. He says Dubby is delicious. Hey, D-Rock, tell us what flavor you got, so that way we can put the recommendations out there. Let us know what flavor you got, bud. Okay, so we've heard different players. You said Nick Benito. I said Justin Cernant. D-Rock said Zach Allen. We talked about the offense side of the ball, the trios on both sides. But let me go ahead and ask you a question. If you had to predict this game, give me J.K. Dobbins. If you had to guess, how many rushing yards do you think J.K. Dobbins ends with, and how many yards do you think Courtland Sutton ends with?
Oh man, I don't know, man. That's kind of hard to tell. Last week I think both of them didn't hit the yardages that I think we all thought they would. I'm going to say J.K. Dobbins has at least 65 yards rushing minimum, at least one touchdown. Courtland Sutton, I'm going to go with, he's going to have at least, I'm going to go a little higher on Courtland Sutton. I'm going to say at least 80 yards receiving. And I'm going to say Courtland Sutton's going to have 2 touchdowns today. Might be a little bit of a hot take, but that's kind of where I'm leaning.
See, I haven't switched. Last week, I thought Sutton would have 2 touchdowns, but this week, I think Dobbins going to have 2 touchdowns because I think we're going to be focused on the run game. And I think he's the goal line running back, and I just feel like he said he wants more touchdowns. I feel like I believe him at his word. But if I'd say Dobbins would have. Yeah, that's definitely a hot take. I'd go 80, 85 yards. I'd go 85 yards rushing, and for Courtland, I might say his first 100 receiving yard game is today. There's no Charvarius Ward, so they're definitely going to help him over the top. No, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I already said it. Oh, I want to take it back so bad. I'm taking it back. I don't care. I'm taking it back.
Who's gonna hate?
But you know what? I'm getting ready to take it back, but then D-Rock comes in and he gives me a little support. He says 114 yards and 2 tutties. So he gives my yardage, but he gives your 2 touchdowns. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and stick with the 100-yard receiving yards game this season. I thought they would double him with the safety a little bit more and open up Evan Ingram, but no, I'm going with over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I definitely like that. Facts. This is the question. One last question. Before we move to our next segment, and I just changed the question. No, I'm gonna bring that up. I'm not gonna change the question. How many sacks does the team get in total today? That is the question. So I'm gonna go first, and then Rob can follow up. How many? So last week we had 6 sacks, 12 QB hits. I'm gonna go 9 QB hits and 4 sacks.
I kind of want to go. I kind of want to go. I want to go another 6 sacks. I want to go another 6 sacks, and I want to go at least 10 QB hits because I really don't think that Daniel Jones is that good. I think our defense is going to eat him alive.
Okay. I like that. I like that. 10 and 6 sacks. And I promise it's like D-Rock is literally in my brain because that was the question I was going to change it to was, do you think Marvin Mims gets his first punt return for a touchdown today? Because I'm thinking, hey, I'm looking for, I expect a bounce back game from Mims. D-Rock comes in and says 5 sack lunches. I say 4. Rob said 6. D-Rock says 5. But he says 12 QB hits. So what we're saying is this defensive line, this pass rush is just nasty. That's 24 QB hits and 12 sacks in the first 2 weeks. That means that we have a 2-to-1 QB hit to sack ratio. That's insane. Yeah. That's insane. But we have high expectations for this defense. And the one thing that the one silver lining, I say all this, even though we missed Dre Greenlaw, is a couple things. 1, 3 out of the 4 free agent signings have been healthy. Dobbins, healthy. Hufanga, healthy. Ingram, healthy. That's good. The second thing is as I said earlier with my key person on defense, what if Justin Strnad it gets better? I'm not talking about for the future. I'm just talking about while Dre Greenlaw's, coming back, and hopefully he's back next week against the Chargers. But what if Justin Strnad is your linebacker 3? You know he can start, but what if he's your linebacker 3? Then how does that linebacker depth look then? We have Strnad, we have Greenlaw, Singleton, Strnad, Reed, Bailey. Now and Sanders coming back off injury as well. Now we're like, oh, okay. Now we're hitting our stride. And Malcolm Roach comes back. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. And so that's going to bring me. Rob, what did you want to say about that? Because you were about to go in, and I look like the wheels were turning.
No, I was just going to say, man, that's going to be interesting. Once Greenlaw gets back to see what happens with the linebacker core. Dre Greenlaw comes back. I still would say, Strnad is going to be linebacker 3. I think you're still going to have Alex Singleton in there. Then you're going to have Dre Greenlaw, whether, interchangeable 1A, 1B. But that's always been kind of a pain point for Denver over the last few years is the linebackers covering tight ends and things like that. But it looks like we got Johnny coming in who is at the stadium at the game. We'll see if we can get him on here. Him and Jay are both at the game.
Yep, I bet you they're about to come in broken and unreadable. But wait.
What's up, guys?
We can barely hear you guys.
We can barely hear you guys. Told you, Rob, broken and unreadable. Yeah, we're just gonna have you do pre-recorded from now on because we can barely hear you guys. But that's why Johnny and Jay have not been hosting or co-hosting. Is because Johnny somehow the last 2 weeks, thank God, has been able to go to the games back to back. So he's actually been traveling with the team, almost like he's been traveling with the team so far. So that's why we've got these call-ins of Johnny and Jay. Hey, you guys, can you hear us? And then they go out. So we're trying to get them to, looks like high energy. Seeing some reports on Twitter, very high energy. They're wearing the sunset oranges again, but they're up in the stadium up in Indianapolis. So who knows what the signal is like.
What is it with Denver wearing the oranges at away games? I don't like that.
I don't know. One of the very few teams that I think we're one of the very few teams in the NFL. Well, there's the Bengals, but still. But we're gonna wear the blues one day. We're gonna wear the blues. But speaking of that, there's no good transition for that. But we are going to go to our next segment and our final segment of You Wanna Bet. It sounds like, Rob, before we go, give us an update on the scores. What's going on out there? I'm hearing some noise.
Yeah, so
Ravens just scored or something.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and update the scores here. So again, Baltimore is still beating the Cleveland Browns 27-10. Jacksonville is still beating the Bengals currently, not by much, 27-24. Giants have just pulled ahead of the Dallas Cowboys 23-10. Going back to Shy Vargas's comment where it says Russ looks so awful, but looks like they're making a comeback there. Still 8 minutes left in that game. We got the Lions slapping the bejesus out of the Bears 45-14. We've got New England beating Miami 30-27. Miami, I think, is toast this year, honestly. We've got 49ers over the Saints 26-14. Buffalo is still making the Jets cry daddy 30-3. We've got the Seattle Seahawks have come ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17. We've got the Rams have scored again 27-16. And those are your scores so far this afternoon.
One thing I love about the NFL is that each week you start to see the pack separate and you start to see the teams elevate. So the Raiders beat the Patriots last week, and then the Patriots are barely eking out the Dolphins. So you're starting to see, hey, the Dolphins are probably the worst team in the NFL down there with the Saints still. And then you start to see, hey, the Giants aren't as bad as we thought they were. Their defense is good. Russell Wilson's getting a division win against the Cowboys. Maybe the Cowboys suck more than we thought. And he's move George Pickens around for my fantasy, please. Don't just keep him outside the numbers. Please put him in the slot, please and thank you. And then you start to see the Steelers look good last week, but then but you're starting to see and then the Lions got beat up by the Packers, but then but then you see the Steelers start to suck against Seahawks. I expect JFM to be traded to Miami this season. I don't think so. One thing that George Payton loves is sending a player to a good team where he'll do well. He's not going to send him to the awful Miami Dolphins where I guess he'd be the leader there. He'd for sure get paid, but he'd be miserable, I think, in my opinion. No state tax. It's Miami, but there's no leadership there. The head coach is about to get fired. I don't think that's – maybe if the head coach gets fired and the new head coach that comes in will look good. But we have got possibly one more call-in before the show, but we're going to transition to our show, our last segment, and if the call-in does come in, we will bring them in for this segment. But guys, we're going to get in our final segment before we close out here with You Wanna Bet.
Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it.
Up, guys. Rob, are you up or are you on it? I got it.
I got it.
Here goes Rob, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so for hey, you want to bet? We're all a little bit of betters here. But it looks like the spread is Broncos -1.5. The over under is 43.5, which to me is kind of high for a game like this. And then you've got the money line. You've got Broncos -120 and Colts +100. So Isaiah, with that information, where are you going with your money today?
You said the over-under was 43?
43.5.
43.5. So I'm just gonna go. I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick it, but I just think it's interesting. I'm going back over my preseason predictions of the scores for each game, and so I still stand pat with what so my older prediction preseason was 28-21 Broncos, and I think that would put at the over at 49, 28-21. I think I'm sticking with that. I'm gonna go the Broncos win. We cover the spread. 28-21 Broncos. I'm going to go ahead and stick with my week 2 prediction. I'm going to go ahead and take the over.
I'm never really good at this, but I think I'm gonna say, I want to say 30-14. I'm gonna say 30-14 Denver. And so, that's what, 44. So that's just barely over the over. But that I'm going to say 30-14, especially if Bo Nix has, a day where the offensive line can keep him upright. He doesn't have to scramble a whole lot, and he can find some open passing lanes. And especially if our running game gets off to a hot start, I'm going to say minimum 30-14 Denver over the Colts.
30-14, I said 28-21, whatever it is, we took the over and we got the win. So that, guys, is going to conclude our segment of the You Want to Bet, and we're going to close out because it's time to get ready for Broncos football to get this win. And guys, don't forget, you guys got to come after for Buck Your Feelings. But we're going to end this segment. We're going to close out with final thoughts, and we're going to get ready for
Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it.
Excellent, guys. So we definitely have the win predicted by both me and Bronco Rob and probably the whole chat and all of Broncos country. 28-21, 30-14. So, guys, don't forget to come after the Buck Your Feelings post-game show to find out who was closer and who was right. Bronco Rob, you have any closing thoughts for the Orange and Blue Network in the chat?
Hey, my closing thoughts are, it's another game. It's another week. I think Bo Nix is gonna, from his press conference last week, he took it upon himself to say, look, I need to play better. I made some mistakes. I had some interceptions. I think Bo's gonna get that cleaned up. The other closing thought I have is Sean Payton took it upon himself to say, I gotta call a better game. He kind of took a little bit of the weight on his shoulders, didn't place it all on Bo. Bo is a second-year player. He's got a lot of talent. He's a smart cat. But again, it's his second year in the NFL. He still has a ton of learning to do. He has a ton more, situations that he's going to run into. But I think for the most part, I think Sean Payton and Bo Nix are going to get it together. Our defense is going to eat this week again, as usual. And, I just want to see Denver put up some points and come out of this game healthy with little to no injuries.
I agree with everything you just said, including the end, little to no injuries. And my closing thoughts is let this, for the first time in 3 years since Sean Payton has been here as a head coach of a Denver Bronco, let this game be the beginning of the foundation of this offensive identity. So far, the Broncos' identity is lead with defense. That's fine. But let's let this game be the first time we'll reestablish an offensive identity. Hey, what is the Denver Broncos offense? What, they're smash mouth, run the ball, and they will tear you apart on the offense and throw the ball if they need to. But they're smart. They don't turn the ball over. They take over the ball, and they play excellent defense. Guys, that's the closing thoughts. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and our Twitter handles are right here, right at the bottom. So that's where you guys can follow us as well. And don't forget, we're on the path to 539. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube to be in the running for the Bo Nix jersey giveaway. And don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. Appreciate the thumbs up, guys. Don't forget to hit that notification bell because we have the Buck Your Feelings post-game show right after. I think it is, Rob, are you hosting the post-game show?
I believe I'm going to be hosting the post-game show, yes, and we're going to have a special co-host from our YouTube comment section. But in order to find out who that is, y'all are going to have to come back and see who's going to be co-hosting with me. Otherwise, it's going to be the Bronco Rob post-game podcast show, baby. And one more thing. Johnny did bring it up that we did not leave the show like we should have last week. And so I'm going to do it just for Johnny because he said something about it last week. And, you know, everybody in the chat is probably going to know where I'm going, but I need y'all to put your arms out wide.
Oh,
and
goodness, we haven't done this forever.
On the count of three, Isaiah, we're going to do a mile high five. 1, 2, 3, mile high five. Let's go.
I haven't done that in forever. I knew that's exactly what you were going to bring up. I knew that's exactly what you were going to say. And for whatever reason, I can't find – I'm looking for it. I don't know. Did Johnny put it up here? No, he did not. Anyway, well, we'll have to put that in there. But anyway, guys, we're going to see you afterwards, after the game at the Buck Your Feelings post-game show. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell. We love you all. We will see you soon. Mile high salute to you all. And we're going to go ahead and come back. We're going to talk about this because we're going to be 2-0. See you guys after the
Here comes the thunder, feel that quake in Broncos country. We're never afraid to take